Yo, what is going on, YouTube Forex traders? It is Earn with Todd here, and this video is going to be your guide in learning how to trade NASDAQ 100 for beginners. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you're able to trade NASDAQ 100 with a very small account starting out. Now, I've been trading NASDAQ 100 live on my streams for almost 2 years now, so I've seen hundreds and hundreds of NASDAQ 100 setups right at the open when the New York Stock Exchange opens. I'm right there live on stream, and I'm scalping 1 to 5 minute entries. And in the 2 years that I've been streaming, I've definitely learned a lot. I've seen many of the same patterns over and over. I can't tell you how many, but after noticing all these setups while I'm trading live, I thought it was a good idea to put everything that I've learned in the last 2 years and try to condense it down into one video so I can kind of give you a head start in how to trade NASDAQ 100. Now, to be completely honest, I am not a professional trader. I don't make millions of dollars trading, but with me coming up on my 3rd year of trading NASDAQ, I gotta say I'm feeling really confident in the next year coming up. I feel like I'm gonna crush trading NASDAQ 100. Now, these are all the things that I'm going to be covering over this video. How big of an account do you need to safely trade NASDAQ? What time frames should you be looking to trade on NASDAQ? What specific candlesticks do I look for when I trade every day? What patterns do I look for when I trade? And also, what technical indicators, if any, do I utilize when I'm trying to scalp NASDAQ 100 at the open? So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this video started. Now, how big of an account do you actually need to trade NASDAQ 100? Now, this is going to surprise you when I tell you, but believe it or not, you can actually trade NASDAQ completely safe with just a $10 account. How so? Well, you know how 1 pip is only supposed to be worth 10 cents? Well, there's actually NASDAQ mini contracts that you can trade on a Forex broker called SageFX. Now, the mini pair that SageFX provides is called NAS100.mini. Now, the difference between this symbol and other NASDAQ symbols is this specific symbol has a pip value of just 0.001 cent. So, I mean, if you get a 100 pip move right there, you're only going to be making 10 cents and you're not going to have to be risking $100. So if you want to take advantage of the SageFX NASDAQ 100 mini symbol, go ahead, click the link down in the video description. Right there, you'll be able to check out the SageFX broker, along with opening a $10 account if you want to test the waters and start trading NASDAQ today without the worry of losing maybe $200 or $300 within 5 minutes. Also with SageFX, there is 1 to 500 leverage. Here you will see the $10 minimum deposit. So if that interests you at all, go ahead and check out SageFX. Now, when you're trading NASDAQ 100, what time frames should you be looking at? Now, when I'm trading NASDAQ every morning, this is my setup. Up here in the upper left-hand corner, I'll have the 1 minute chart. This will be mainly for when I'm gonna go ahead and try to get those sniper entries, have a little bit tighter stop losses, which can be a double-edged sword. Believe me, NASDAQ 100 will break your heart. There's gonna be a lot of times where your stop loss is gonna be smashed, but then within 2 candles, NASDAQ's just gonna go fucking berserk and it's gonna smash your would have been take profit. And well, yeah, I'll let you be the judge of how NASDAQ's gonna make you feel. I got my 5 minute charts. This is where I'll try to look at, maybe the overall trend of the last couple hours in the morning. Then over here, I will have a 15-minute chart open. And then over here in the lower right-hand corner, I will have my hourly chart. Now, if you have the free version of TradingView, you're not gonna be able to have 4 charts open at the same time. So I do recommend, if you're gonna take trading NASDAQ seriously, go ahead and upgrade that TradingView subscription and start taking advantage of the 4-panel view. Believe me, it does help a lot. And if you're wondering if I look at the 4-hour or daily, not really. I try not to pay attention to the daily or 4-hour just because I don't really swing trade. Most of my trades are over in under 20 minutes, but there are those times where I may want to look at the 4-hour or daily and maybe have a crazy runner. But the longest I've held NASDAQ has not been more than a day. And honestly, if you're looking to trade NASDAQ right at the morning, 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, and 1 hour, that's all you're gonna need. Now let's go ahead and move on. What kind of candlesticks do I look for when I'm trading NASDAQ? And this is the number. I'm only looking for 1 candlestick every single morning, and it's called the kangaroo tail. And you may have heard of the strategy from the book Naked Forex by Walter Peters. That's where I learned about the strategy called the kangaroo tails. Now, to get into the forensics of exactly what a kangaroo tail is, in case some of you have no idea what this is from the book Naked Forex. By the way, if you have not read Naked Forex yet, I highly recommend it. There's a lot of great price action strategies in that you may be able to add to your trading system. But for now, all I'm worrying about is just the kangaroo tail, which is simply a candle with a very small body and a long wick. I know you've all seen candles like this. You may know them by other names, but the kangaroo tail does have specific criteria that does distinguish them from shooting stars or hammers or vice versa. Now, a kangaroo tail is very unique because it tells us something about the market. Right here, this is a candle that I did take a sell on, and I did make about $300 on it. So let me go ahead and replay this scenario. So right here, 9:30 Eastern, stocks open. I'm on high alert for kangaroo tails to pop off, and boom, right away at 6:35, I noticed this bearish kangaroo tail. Entered the trade immediately, and we took a pretty good move down, made about $300 or $400. And this is how the trade looked. So the thing about kangaroo tails is you do want to place a stop loss above the wick. And when I'm trading, I like to go for a minimum of 2 Rs. And here in this example, you could have hit 2 Rs in less than 5 minutes. And if you had diamond hands, I mean, sky's the limit of how much money you can make on a NASDAQ drop if you can hold, okay? The trick is holding. Like hindsight, it's very easy to see NASDAQ can drop a lot. But the moment you are up $200 or $300, something in the back of your mind might be telling you, hey, maybe it's just time to close because you're afraid that the market is going to shoot back up and stop you out. When in reality, all you got to do is hold a couple more hours, and instead of making $300 or $400, I mean, you can realistically have $1,000 to $2,000 mornings in NASDAQ. But it's not going to be easy, okay? As soon as you're in that trade, that's a whole different thing. Now, I'll show you a quick example of a bullish kangaroo tail. This is how it would look. So when you notice this candle with the exact criteria, by the way, my website, kangaroohunter.com, it's a completely free website. I'll teach you how to trade kangaroo tails in depth, or you can just hop on my daily live streams. I'm on YouTube and Twitch right when those stocks open. So come hop in my stream one day if you want to sweat the action with me. So this is how a buy would look on a bullish kangaroo tail. And here in this kangaroo tail example, this candle printed at 9:42 Eastern. And after about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you held that trade for just 6 or 7 minutes. I mean, you're going to be smashing 7 or 8 Rs if you're doing trades along the kangaroo tail criteria. Every entry on the kangaroo tail is going to be on the body, and every stop loss is going to be above or below the wick, depending if it's a bullish or a bearish kangaroo tail. Now, alongside kangaroo tails, I do look for specific patterns, and the number of patterns I'm looking for is just 2. They're going to be M's and they're going to be W's. And what I do is when I notice a potential M or W, I want to see a kangaroo tail in conjunction with that. So I want to have multiple confluences. If there's a W, I'm going to want to see a bullish kangaroo tail on that bottom. Give me a nice stop loss. I can get in and out. For example, if I'm noticing a pattern like this, where I'm seeing price head down, I see a quick spike up, and then I see a kangaroo tail like that, I'm going to be thinking, I got a really good W, and this is going to be a perfect entry if price goes in my favor. And as we see in this example, now this is a completely perfect example of a bullish kangaroo tail with a successful W. So when you're seeing me in my live streams, I'm going to be marking up a lot of M's, I'm going to be marking up a lot of W's, and I'm going to be hoping for the best. Because let me tell you what, emotions are 10 times higher when you lose a trade with 50 or 60 people watching you. Your emotions are also 10 times higher when you win a trade with 50 or 60 people watching you. So I'm telling you, if you want to see some real trading action instead of someone just reviewing trades, you're going to have to come in and join in on the fun. Now, to give you an example of an M pattern on NASDAQ, I'm actually going to be looking at the hourly chart in this example. So here we go. I'm going to draw a line here from December 20th down here on the bottom. Going to go ahead and go up here. And this is an example actually this morning on my stream. I noticed there was an hourly M forming about at this point right here. I had a line drawn down at this point. Now, I gotta tell you, sometimes things will just happen so fast. You can be completely prepared. So you think you're completely prepared. You're gonna have a complete game plan. You know what the market is going to be doing pre-market, and you feel like you're just gonna crush that morning. Well, let me go ahead and zoom in on the 1 minute. So here's that M that I drew up, and we're gonna go ahead and zoom in here. I'm gonna turn on my kangaroo tail indicator, and we're gonna zoom in right at 9:30 Eastern when the stocks open. 1 minute after the stocks open, my indicator alerts me, hey, there's a kangaroo tail right here. You should put in a sell. So what I did is I immediately put in a sell. By the way, if you wanna see this trade live, I'll leave it down in the video description. It'll be a live stream link. It's only a 13-minute video, but you'll see why it was a very short stream. So went ahead, entered my sell, had a stop above the kangaroo tail. Now, I want you guys to look over here on this side. you see this area on the chart here. Price recently tested this area. Now, when you look at this replay, you're going to see how fast price actually went back up and immediately, absolutely tanked and tanked and tanked. And I was absolutely heartbroken. For one, after the fact, I realized because the trade happened so fast, I wasn't thinking clearly. I was kind of in a haze, and I should have had a stop loss over at the recent high. And I learned a hard lesson right there. But I mean, in the heat of the moment, you're looking at 1 minute entries. Things happen fast, and you don't get the luxury of thinking. If you think, you're basically dead. So there is going to be some heartbreak in trying to day trade NASDAQ 100 as a beginner. You got to ask yourself, are you willing to get smacked? Are you willing to lose 50 or 100 bucks within 20 seconds? If the answer is yes, then I know you probably got what it takes to trade NASDAQ if you do not mind losing 50 to 100 bucks within 20-30 seconds. It happens. Now let's go ahead and talk about the third confluence that I'll be looking for when I'm trading NASDAQ right at the open. Now, a technical indicator that I do use is called the force index. Now, what I look for in the force index, by the way, in TradingView, it is titled Elder's Force Index, but in MetaTrader 4, you'll find it under Force Index under the oscillators. Now, what I like to look at with the force index is specifically matching divergences with a bullish kangaroo tail. So if I spot a bullish kangaroo tail, I'm going to want to check if there's any possibility that there's also a bullish divergence on the force index. And then if I can put all those things together, have my candlestick, okay, there's a bullish kangaroo tail, okay, there is a bullish divergence, and there is a possible W. I mean, that's lining up for a perfect buy scenario. So for example, here was that bullish kangaroo tail that we reviewed earlier. You see that we do have that bullish divergence going up slightly, and that divergence is quite small. You'll see a lot of divergences on the force index under 5 candles so far. So for example, here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, you got 5 candles there. That's a perfect kind of divergence that you want to look for when you are looking for these bullish kangaroo tails and confluences. And then with the W, I mean, they just sometimes explode. Now, this is just a picture perfect example. Believe me, there are a lot of setups that will lose. I'm not going to guarantee a 100% win rate, a 90% win rate, even an 80% win rate. When you're trying to scalp NASDAQ on a winning day, you may only have a 50% winning rate. And I got to say, the most important thing when you are trading NASDAQ is to not get too wrapped up about win rate, because somebody with a 20 or 30% win rate, if they're smashing 3 or 4 R's, I mean, that's good enough to be profitable long term. So it depends, what kind of a trader are you? Do you want to win more? Do you want to win more but have smaller wins? Or do you want to win less but have bigger runners? Vice versa. Okay, I know you guys have all heard of the terminology, but for me, I like to shoot for a minimum of 2 R's on a setup like this. But I mean, when you got a W like this, you could always go for the recent high, which would give you about 5 or 6 R's if you got that laser sniper scope entry. Now, I want to show you some more examples of divergence just going absolutely crazy on NASDAQ. So here we see we're getting a lot of lower lows. And on the force index, we're obviously getting higher. And here, this is not a kangaroo tail, but it is a very, very decent wick to go ahead and put in a buy with a stop below that wick. You got bullish divergence, and maybe you could take it to the next zone up here, you know, and maybe it would bounce back up to the open price that was about right here at 15,707. I remember because this is the morning I traded. But then all did not go according to plan. Now, I did enter a buy down here. I was up about 150, and I did notice some consolidation right here, and I was getting a little worried because there was a bearish divergence that I noticed right here. Here you see prices are getting lower, and we do got a bearish divergence on that consolidation. Now, you don't want to just trade divergences automatically, but you do want to keep in mind, if you see NASDAQ all of a sudden shoot up and then consolidate for 5 or 6 candles with a kangaroo tail on top with bearish divergence appearing, I'm going to be feeling like I'm going to be bearish at that point. Now, stubbornly me, I did not close out my trade here, and I let price come back down, and I did take a loss. Okay, I did take about a $60 loss. Now, the only reason I did not close is because I thought we were going to be on our way back up to the open price. It did not need to go up much further, but all of a sudden the kangaroo tail appeared when I didn't want it to appear, and price went down. Now, if you notice again, so prices were going down, but we got this big consolidation area again that I was talking about. Consolidation, you got a wick, and now you got bullish divergence. So I mean, at that point, if you got wicks like that, you got consolidation, you got divergence, it might be worth it to be putting in that scalp buy. And then look what happened to NASDAQ. Went all the way back up, reversed, smashed the open price, and just continued to run like crazy. So now that you kind of got a basic understanding of what kind of patterns to look for NASDAQ, what kind of candlesticks to look for, I want to help you even further on your NASDAQ trading journey today. And I want to introduce you to my divergence indicator, which I will be giving away for free. And I just got an alert. This is how it works. Anytime we get a kangaroo tail, we're going to get alerted instantly. This is a trading view indicator. I also do have a scanner that is available for MetaTrader 4. I'll have the link down below in the video description. Now you will receive the divergence indicator completely free if you do create an account on SageFX and deposit, which will be down in the video description. All you got to do is make an account, put a deposit in, and I will give you the divergence indicator completely free. It will show up under your invite only scripts under the indicator tab. Now, the way it works is when you see a kangaroo emoji, that is just a regular kangaroo tail. But if you see a rocket emoji, that is going to be a kangaroo tail with force index divergence. So remember how I talked about if you wanted to check divergences earlier and if there was kangaroo tails with it? Well, here, this indicator does it for you. You don't need the oscillator on the screen. The force index is actually embedded within the chart, so it calculates divergences without having the actual oscillator up. Makes it very simple. If you see a rocket emoji, you know that is a kangaroo tail with force index divergence. Now, when you do get this indicator, here are the settings. You're going to see candle size ATR. I would leave this as is default, 0.25. ATR period, keep this on 14. This is just looking at the last 14 candles in the ATR period. Room to the left bars, I would keep this on 10. You can play with this. If you do put it on something like 1, you will see a lot more kangaroo tails like this, but I like to keep it on 10 just to buffer out any extra kangaroo tails. Now, the EFI, this is just the force index oscillator number. Keep this on 13 unless you know what you're doing. Look back, I put this on 25. What this stands for is there divergence in the last 25 candles? So basically the indicator is scanning backwards and making sure, is there any divergences in the last 25 candles? Now, the Australian look back, keep this on 3. What this basically does is if there is divergence in the 3 previous candles from the kangaroo tail for this example. So if there's divergence from this low point to here, but there's not divergence from here to here, the system is still going to count this as a bullish divergence. But I've done a lot of back testing. Keep that on 3. You don't need to change that number at all. But ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have for you in today's video. How to trade NASDAQ 100, the official trading guide for beginners. If you got any value out of this video, go ahead, subscribe to this channel, drop a comment down if I have helped you in your trading journey on NASDAQ 100. And if you want my divergence indicator completely free, go ahead and make that SageFX account. Thank you for taking the time and watching my video today, and I hope I truly taught you something new about how to trade NASDAQ. Have a good one, and I hope to see you on my future streams.